Okay guys, so I'm out here today with the Kastking Kestrel Elite, and we are doing the Trout Magnet test. Now this is actually the second time I'm filming this video. Unfortunately, the first time I had some micro SD card corruption problems, so I lost all that footage. But since this seems to be the hottest reel of the moment, I decided to go ahead and refilm this for you guys and let you see what this Kestrel Elite can do with the 1 gram Trout Magnet. Now, I have the reel mounted on my dedicated Trout Magnet rod, which is the Kuying Teton TTC 5'10", 2-pound Trout Magnet mono. I got the spool filled not even halfway. And we are running the Trout Magnet with no snap swivel. Now the way I have the reel set up is that I've loosened the spool tension to where there is just a little bit of side-to-side play, because I want 0 restrictions on that spool turning. And I'm actually able to go down really low on these brakes. We are talking between 2 and 3, so basically 2.5. And let me show you what the Kestrel can do. So I'm just gonna cast around, maybe even catch a couple of panfish here and there, who knows. But I'm gonna let you see what the Kestrel can do with this Trout Magnet, and then we're gonna talk about what I think of its performance. Here we go. All right, so had a little bit of wind coming in, a little bit of wind, but since this Kestrel has brakes that are so strong, you can see I have plenty of brake power in reserve. Now, I did take the Kestrel out trout fishing with some heavier jerk baits a couple of weeks ago, because I really wanted to loosen up the bearings on this reel before I tried to cast the Trout Magnet. Okay, there's a nice clean cast. I turned the brakes up, I think 1 click, having just a couple of tiny loops on the spool. Hopefully you guys can see where this Trout Magnet is landing. There's a lot of surface activity, but I think those are just shad. I had a crosswind that gave me a pretty decent overrun, but nothing too bad. All right, had an overrun there. I'm not sure why. Now, since the Trout Magnet is so light, even just a flicker of wind can alter its speed and trajectory. So I'm going to turn the brakes up 2 more clicks. So that means we're between 4 and 5. And once again, this brake dial is so nice and precise. It feels so good. And it's got that window that lets you know exactly where you are. All right, so the wind has stopped for a brief moment, so I'm going to turn the brakes back to 3. All right, by doing that, I think I got probably about another extra 3 to 4 feet. All right, let's do some overhead. Oh. Yeah, overhead with such a light lure and such a stiff rod is a bit of a challenge. All right, so this Kestrel is definitely easily casting this 1 gram Trout Magnet. It's got plenty of brake power to spare. We're probably getting at least 35 foot, maybe close to 40. But the accuracy is a little off. I do need to adjust my release point a little bit, release just a tad bit early to be able to hit the spots that I want. just a leaf. See right there? It's going off to the left, especially when I cast real hard to try to get some extra distance. And honestly, to me, that's kind of disappointing because the specs on this reel being, you know, a super tiny 28mm spool that's only 4.5 grams. I expect this thing to be able to cast a Trout Magnet super straight. And we have some wind coming in directly into me. So I'm going to turn the brakes up, let's say 4 clicks, and see how it handles this wind with such a light lure. All right, no problem. Trout Magnet went out to the left, but spool perfectly controlled. I might be able to go down 1 click, which I just did. Let's go down 1 more click. So we are on number 4. All right, so I'm casting this way and it's going off to the left. So to me, it's got to be these brakes. They are extremely strong, and I think that is affecting the flight of this Trout Magnet. Okay, so I released early and it went to the spot that I wanted. Now, I would rather have brakes that are too strong than too weak, by far. So the brakes being too strong is a positive in my book. But yeah, the Kestrel Elite, distance-wise, is just slinging out this Trout Magnet like a regular reel would sling out a 1/4 ounce bait. Wow, no panfish even want this. Maybe I should swap colors, but Kastking Kestrel with the 1 gram Trout Magnet handles it very easily. Very, very easily. Of course, you have to have the right rod and the appropriate line to be able to load up this lure. And I actually have just received a couple of JDM saltwater BFS rods that I'm gonna do an unboxing video on, that I'm looking to be able to replace this uncomfortable and fragile Kuying Teton rod as my main Trout Magnet rod. They are just not wanting pink today. Yeah, these have got to be shad. So distance, excellent. So now it's time to talk about how this Kestrel Elite compares with all the other reels that I've tested using the exact same rod and line casting the Trout Magnet. And we're going to start off with the Shimano ALDEBARAN 22. Now I think the distance is very comparable. I think the ALDEBARAN will probably get a couple of feet extra on this Kestrel, but the accuracy is probably about the same. Now, this is based off of my memory. Unfortunately, I'm not casting these 2 reels side by side, at least not yet. But distance-wise, I think the ALDEBARAN is going to take it. Accuracy-wise or ease of casting, they are very similar. Very, very similar. Now, compared to the Alphas, the Alphas Air TW by DAIWA. Now, it's been quite a long time since I've casted that reel with the Trout Magnet, but distance-wise, I think they are very close, but from memory, I think the Alphas may have it on the ease of casting or accuracy or casting straight. But I think it's been more than a year since I've casted the Alphas with the Trout Magnet. All right, so the last reel I'm gonna try to compare to memory-wise is gonna be the current king of the stock BFS reels that I've tested. That's gonna be that Black Knight 2. And I think the Black Knight 2 has it over this Kestrel in both distance and ease of casting. Because I do remember that I did cast the Black Knight 2 and the Alphas back to back. And the Black Knight 2, even though it's a flawed reel with normal sized BFS lures, it dominated that Trout Magnet. And I could see and feel a noticeable difference between it and the Alphas. Now, I do plan on doing a big side-by-side comparison of the Trout Magnet with quite a few reels, just trying to figure out the logistics and what I'm going to do. But there we go, guys. Kastking Kestrel Elite. Awesome first attempt at a top-of-the-line BFS reel by Kastking. I'm glad they went with brakes that are too strong instead of too weak. And I can't remember if I bought the bearings for this reel or not, but I bought a couple of sets of those new ST bearings from RYOGA. And it's been so long since I've had them, they're sitting in their package, that I forgot which reels I bought them for. And I think one of them might be this Kestrel. I know one set was for my Liger BFS reel. But I'm gonna see if a set of freer flowing micro bearings will kind of counteract these very potent brakes on the Kestrel Elite. Boom. Okay, so some bonus fishing footage, and hopefully we'll catch something. But I've swapped out the Trout Magnet for this little bug lure along with a trout slayer head, and the total weight of this rig, I believe, is 1.4 to 1.5 grams tops. And hopefully we can get some bluegill or whatever's out there to grab onto this bug lure. And I've loosened the drag up to where it is so loose that hopefully even just a decent sized panfish will be able to pull out a little bit of drag so we can hear that drag clicker. So here we go. Now, when casting this particular lure, the accuracy is spot on. Handling the 1.5 gram weight like it was nothing. Brake settings are pretty much the same. External dials on 2.5. But where are all the bluegill? Maybe they're around this tree. I have limited casting room here. But give me just one good bluegill. Maybe I have to move spots. I don't even see one bluegill. I don't even see any minnows swimming around here. Oh, there's a snake. Trying to pretend like he's a twig. Is that a copperhead? Oop, thought I felt something. All right, let's go somewhere where I actually see fish.